I am applying for the open PBGID trustee position. I have 3 years' experience on Washoe County boards. I'm fully trained to include open meeting law training. I have over 50 years management experience, the last 23 at the Northern Nevada Territory Manager Engineer for the Garrett Callahan Company, resume attached. My goal as a trustee is to work with the board members to ensure compliance with all applicable laws governing the operation, make appropriate informed decisions on budget usage, and help develop true teamwork and harmonious relations among the board, operations, and administration. If appointed, I will do my very best to accomplish the above stated goals. After a really tough time over the last year and a half, we have the opportunity to get back on track and continue moving the GID forward. The taxpayers of Palomino Valley deserve nothing less. Thank you, Marshall Todd. Any comments or questions for Marshall? He's been.
I know Marshall, I mean, I
here
know
for
all the guys, and you know what, this is gonna be really tough.
They're all
All
good
very
kids.
well qualified, that's where it's gonna be tough about
Yeah,
this.
Marshall's been at many meetings over the years and has provided public comment. And, you know, he's very interested in helping the community, so. You are one of the only three though that we have filed for the election, right?
Right, I'm
Yeah.
running in the election coming up, so.
And this seat is, so again, so everybody understands, this seat is the one that was vacated by Dan Helton. And his seat was up for reelection in November, and he had not even filed, back in March when the filing date was. So it was definitely a completely open seat with no incumbents to speak of. And right now, there's 3 seats that'll be on the ballot, and you're one of the people that's run for those 3 seats. Is there anything you'd like to?
Well, there's one thing that I'd like to say, it's like, everybody says, you know, we're blessed with extremely, impressive people, you know, who've had, experiences with each other that can contribute to our little board here, you know, we maintain relationships, you know, we don't launch rocket ships, you know, and, I just think that, like for Wes and Marty, I'd like to see Marty run again, you know, he's lived in this valley his whole life, and he's been on the board before, a real asset to the community, and, Wes is, he knows everybody, you know, and better than that, everybody knows him well and favorably, so, you know, you guys have a tough selection to make, but I think if you take one of you two guys, just to give them a little bit of time on there, if they convince them that you either want to run in the next election or not. You know,
It's 126,
Yeah.
yeah.
just a thought.
Just for clarification, I believe you live on the east side of, Pyramid, and Wes, you live on the west side?
Yes, ma'am.
And we'll get to Marty, but Marty, I think you live on the west side or the east side? Southeast.
Way southeast.
He lives out in the sticks.
Okay, and the next applicant is Martin Breitmeyer. Who's got a really good resume, and can I call you Marty? I've never met you before, but it's nice to meet you, and I know that you've been on the board before. Do you guys have any comments or questions for Marty?
I do. When I first moved here in 2017, and first started coming to the GID meetings, I was very impressed with Marty's knowledge of roads, and he was one of the people on the board that really seemed to understand all that. I think Marty worked for someone else at that time, am I correct? And because of that, I know sometimes you couldn't make all the meetings.
That was
because
the problem before.
Yeah. When you have a boss, and the boss
Work
wants you.
became the demand.
Well, it's a priority, and I understand that. You you had a family to feed and all that kind of stuff, so. But I'm now seeing that you've got your own business, is that right?
Yes,
So, in
and it's
my,
located here in the valley.
okay, so in my mind, since you're the boss, it's not gonna be too hard for you to
No.
show up for these meetings. Cause that was an issue that concerned me, and cause when you were there, I was like, man, this guy is awesome, you know? And so I appreciate the fact that you now are in a position where, you could be here at all the meetings.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate the last go around, I went from just being a foreman for the company I worked for to more of a superintendent position, so I started overseeing not just one field of operation, I started overseeing quite a few. My days quickly went from 10-hour days to 18-hour days.
Yeah.
Never turning the phone off, so
And I respect that.
kind of got in the way of everything else.
So, you know, let's have public comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do public comment.
John, Lori Sports off of the record, just for the sake of consistency, were you gonna read Marty's letter?
You didn't have a letter.
He had a really nice resume.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is on the table.
Okay, thank you. I was just asking for some clarification. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Brian.
Yeah. Brian DeMambro for the record. I just want to say I would hate to be in your position right now because you have three very qualified, solid applicants. Everything I've heard about Wes, especially from a very good friend of mine, you know, he thinks you're the bee's knees, man. If that makes sense. Marshall, I've gotten to know him here over the past year, having to do with recall and everything, and he has my absolute respect, and I consider him a friend. Marty is my next door neighbor off of Bascovin and Serenity Place. And if it wasn't for him and the work that he does out there, the vast majority of the time, on his own dime, you know, it would be very difficult for us to get from Wilcox Ranch out to my house. All right, and I know his expertise. I've seen the work he does. I've seen the work ethic that he puts into his work, and as well as into taking care of his family. And in addition to that, a lot of these dirt gravel roads that you see out here and how well they have been, you know, lifted up here over the past 6-7 years. A good part of it is him, along with working with Sean and working with Larry Johnson. So I mean, even though 18 hours a day, dude, that's a lot.
Well, your own business, right?
You know, I believe that he would make a really great addition to the board, especially, you know, helping to get everything back on track. And as you said in the last meeting, you know, setting up the GID for success for the next 10 years.
Sean, do you have any questions? I mean, do you have any input on this too? You know, all three gentlemen, I mean,
I'm staying
I'm
out.
torn on this whole thing, so.
No, you guys have it tough
Yeah,
right now.
before, is there any other public comment, because we have to ask a question of all three of you. Go ahead.
So to all the applicants, are you registered voters who live in the valley? This is for the record. Okay, everybody is here, so yes. Okay. Is there any other public comment? Otherwise, because I'm gonna start spewing my thing now.
Please do.
Okay, so, I like all these guys, and like I said, I think a month or two ago, the problem with our board right now is, well, one thing is Pam came on as an appointee who's not running for office, which if I can, in my mind, if I can appoint someone who's not on the ballot, I think it's better for this short appointment. So then it's just like a running race, right? And with the lack of a board experience, Greg will be back next month. And honestly, I've only been here 3 years. I'm leaning towards Marty, just because I'd like to have that experience back on board for a few months to help us out. That's my feeling, and nothing against any of the other applicants. It just, for me, it comes down to just having more experience at the table right now, because what I saw last year with a lot of lack of experience, it was kind of pandemonium, and so that's my feeling. But I don't know how you guys.
No, that's great. I wanna know what hers is. I wanna know what hers is, so I don't know if you guys go the same route, and I won't say.
Well, I'm leaning the same way as John, actually. I think all three of you guys are awesome, and if the other two weren't here, I would be totally comfortable with whichever one was left. But we do have to pick. I do think I actually consider Marshall a personal friend of mine, and I love to have him on the board. Because you need to have a friend on the board like that, but he is running, and I think it would kind of give him a leg up on the other candidates. And I don't really want to do that. I might want to win. And I don't know Wes as well, but I have heard a lot of great things about you, Wes, and I think you would be an asset. I'm leaning towards Marty for the reasons you said, because I think he has experience. And the other thing I like about Marty that I recall was he was not a rubber stamp. There were some times when Larry Johnson, who knew a lot and did a lot for this board, I'm not going to take away from him. But he also kind of ran things, his way, and when he said, we're going to do A, B, C, there are people who said, yep, we're going to do A, B, C, okay? And Marty listened, and if somebody said something, he said, oh, well, maybe we could do it this way. And I appreciate that, Marty. I think, we don't want to be fighting up here, but we also need to have people who are willing to share their perspective on something about a road that might help us better decide how to spend it.
And I would say I agree completely, and part of that is because, Nevada's a road guy, Marty's a road guy. I'm an admin type guy, I'm not a road guy. So the more road guys, I think is a benefit for this district, honestly, with what we're lacking. So I'm gonna make a motion.
You make that motion.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to.
Please do that. I don't have to say.
Marty Breitmeyer is the person to fill the open trustee position currently on the PBGW board.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And
Wes, I love
thank you,
you.
Marty. I appreciate it.
Wes, I love you.
Robin will help you with what you need to do, because there's a couple things to do. And thank you, Wes.
Yeah, Marshall and Wes.
And Marty, come back in 2026.
Yeah.
Okay. Road operations and maintenance reports, all items for possible action. Road operations and maintenance reports.
Okay, well, again, I'm by myself, got a few roads graded. Have a couple of things. Number one on this list is not fun. This course wasn't even a yearling. And I hate picking them up and taking them away. We really need to slow down at night when you can't see. We don't have street lights. And they're
Is that
in the road.
Fire station? There was
Just
some-
past,
some-
yeah,
just
just
past.
past. You see the skid
I
marks.
saw it.
And thankfully, we have a wonderful couple on Wilcox that allows us to take them there, and they bury them. So, but nobody will come out. So it would just be huge if we could slow down. I know everybody in this room goes slow. I'm talking to the people that are gonna be reading the minutes.
They're on the YouTube channel right
Yeah,
now.
oh, okay, there you go.
Well, sort of.
And I would like to kind of elaborate a little bit more on that. okay, is anybody who drives whiskey or even Ironwood, now Ironwood it's hard to see, but whiskey, our edges are failing again. And it would be huge that if you have nobody behind you and nobody in front of you and you have a safe journey, straddle that line and stay off of those edges so they don't mushroom out. And that goes for every asphalt road we have. So that would be much appreciated because it will help save your roads. Like my nice little signs say out there, well, they say dirt roads. Sorry, done it. Messed that up. Anyway, we had a little flash flood, and for the most part, all of the roads were fantastic. I came out, I got a call at 7 o'clock, and I was in bed, and I came out. I just wanted you to know that. And I did the search, and thankfully, nothing really washed out, but we had some debris on the roads. And the next day I came out and pushed all that off the blade. We do have one little area that had some issues that I saw not too long ago, and I will fill that and get that taken care of. But other than that, with some of the moisture that I had, Yellowtail ended up getting a little bit more freshened up. So, and Pioche, or from Pioche to the end, hopefully that was a little bit nicer for now. We still got to stripe the lines on the road on Ironwood, and went through the resume, about 11 resumes this time. I actually do have so everybody understands that Indeed works very well. I have a Saudi Arabia application to come and work. So obviously he's not going to make it. Anyway, we did get the new truck. And so that was in the works since 2000. Amazing how long that took, but it's finally done. And pretty much any questions? That's about it.
Did you find the rock in the dock somewhere?
I did find out of one of the resumes. I did find things. I'm sorry, I forgot this. And he is scheduled. He had some wrinkles, and he's taking care of that tomorrow with the CDL. But he's tentatively to start March 5th, which is the Monday. I'm sorry, August, my bad. Okay. Starts with an M, no. No, August, yeah, next month on the 5th. And he will come on strictly as a seasonal hire, and I will give him up to 6 months to prove that he's able to stay with us. And then before I take him on as a permanent, if he works out.
Anybody else? Because I asked Sean, if I could take a tour of the recycling store, where all the equipment is stored. I feel like if I'm gonna serve on this board, I need to certainly want to do that, and look at the equipment. And I thought, Sean, I want to thank you personally. I think you were very gracious in showing me that. And I was very impressed and very how organized the equipment was. It really takes a lot of pride in what he does in terms of what I saw there. And it does all look old to me, but he keeps it going and he's able to use it. And I was pretty impressed at what PCGA has as far as the equipment they have to use to work on the roads. We have to see the new building, and that also was quite impressive. It certainly gives people a safe place to work on the equipment because he does do a lot of work maintenance-wise on the equipment that I think is saving the GIP life. So I want to recognize that and thank you.
Marshal Todd, for the record, I just wondered, did you approve of the camera placement of the microphone placement?
Well, the cameras that all the cameras I saw were outside, and I don't see a problem with those where those are. You did tell me that one point there was one in the office, and I don't think that's necessary. I don't think it's necessary. But that's on the outside. You know, somebody could come in and try to steal something or vandalize something. It could help with things. In fact, at the CAB meeting last time, that's one of the things the sheriff's department talked about, if you recall, Marshall, was that you said if you have ring or, you know, any kind of video or whatever, that please, you know, save it, keep it, because it can help them, you know, catch the criminal that, you know, either vandalized or stole something. So I'm not really against having them there. I don't think you need to have one on the operations.
I try to be a smart ass.
Any other public comment? That you guys?
No, I just, I went and I did look at the chip seal, look at the badges, we did talk. Did a good job. Chip seal for 40, 50 years, I'm all about it. No, anything on that trailer?
I might have one coming up in Dunnigan, Richie Brothers.
Yeah.
It's an 18 trail cage. But they just painted it, so that's a little deceiving. All the wood's good, everything's good.
UW?
24, I think. Got plenty for what we have. So the question would be whether or not, and it's in September, so we still have some time, but technically I don't like, I need to go and check that. Right, I bought one thing, sight unseen, one time, and we ended up getting rid of it. We got what we, for the most part, but yeah. So, and Dunnigan's just over the hill, it's not that far. Anyway, I'm still looking and, you know, hopefully something comes closer or we'll check it out. I mean, it's still working, you know, as long as my tires hold up.
So you showed me the new used truck that got from the truck there. That's the diesel.
Mhm.
And then you had, well, the gas one that I kind of let you were trying to sell that. You know, for the new trucks, or-
I need to think about it, right?
Okay.
The main reason why I brought that up to you is because we do have a little bit of gas on site, but we always get diesel. But this is, if it's gonna become, what the plan is one of these trucks, our old weld truck, which has a portable welder on it, all that good stuff, flatbed truck, is an 82 or 83, and it's just on its last legs. It needs to go. So my plan is to pull the bed off with the welder, we'll take the welder off and then put it back on, right? And put it on one of the new trucks. And then we'll have a newer weld truck. Being a gas engine in the one truck, it's a 96 F350, 50,000 miles on the truck. Came with brand new tires, everything. Now, how often do we go out and weld? Is it worthwhile to keep it? I don't know. You know what I mean? Here's the bonus with the new one too. Sorry about that. And I saw it and I was like, I wonder. It came with a plow, a Western snow plow. The plow was worth what we paid for the truck, you know, and this truck has 83,000 original miles on a 7.3 diesel. That's fantastic. Anyway, so my goal is to pick a truck and make it the weld truck. I have plenty of diesel. I don't have a lot of gas, but it doesn't take much to drive down. I have a credit card to put it and fill it up, or I can always get the flyers. They will bring, I always get 100 gallons every now and then because we do use gas. So anyway, does that answer?
So you can use that.
I don't know yet. I've gotta figure it out. That's plan of attack, I'm sorry.
I'm not getting rid of that Ford, right?
Which Ford? They're all Ford.
The one you just got,
No.
that one's staying.
It's diesel.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw him the other day, I thought,
Yeah.
that's a nice truck.
Yeah, and it's helping me, so you don't notice.
Yeah, that's okay. I just said it was nice truck.
I've got a nice gallon of lacquer paint on Amazon that I'm tossing around, so it just gets rid of the color. Anyway, so any other questions?
All right, calendar.
So for this month, we had the deadline for the fiscal report, which has already been filed. And we do not have to file a deadline for the waiver because it's done with our audit and it gets filed with the state because we're small enough that we're not required to do that. And then we had the meeting, and then we will not be affected by the rate adjustment, so we don't have to revise our budget. And that's all I have for July. And in August, we have coming, oh, and the indebtedness report, which we are not in debt. We have no debt, so that's been filed. Our next meeting will be on August 15th. And that's all we got.
Good. Okay, unfinished business, all items for possible action, possible approval of independent contractor, letter of engagement with Catherine A. Glaffeller for consulting services. And you know what, we did this last month and we're doing it again this month. I think Pam and Kathy went over that letter of engagement and fine tuned it a little bit. But I'll just take public comment now on this. If anyone has public comment. Susan?
Susan Ambrose. I just would like to say that I think any person in this valley who has the most institutional knowledge about the operations of this PDGID, it would be Ms. Flapper. And she, for many years, has been involved with not only the fire department, she assisted with our volunteer fire department, but then she moved on to work for the GID. And she also assisted, or she was required to rewrite and help update the policy and procedures manual for the GID. So with that much knowledge, I think it would be a great benefit to our current staff. You know, they unfortunately they were just kind of dropped in to a fishbowl, and it's like, well, you better swim. You know, and I don't think that was fair to those ladies, and I think you're right that the suggestion that Kathy brought back on a temporary basis to help, you know, in maybe assisting you with updating the manual and then working with the staff, I think would be an outstanding idea.
You know, I would say that I noticed that there was a public comment last month on this item that letter of engagement was kind of open-ended money loans. And I see it's been fine-tuned now to have a cap of $15,000 over a 12-month period. So that kind of took care of that public comment we heard last month. You guys have any?
You know, I've never met her personally, but every time I go down to the county when I'm doing my permits in my company, everybody in there, when I go into the permits, you know, building permits, they all ask about Kathy. And I've heard nothing but good about her. And unfortunately, I never had the pleasure to meet her. But from everything I've heard, she knows the valley. She's good at what she did for many years. And I mean, we can always, you know, I mean, we can use her knowledge and her input, and yeah, she should be compensated for it.
Pam, anything, or?
Well, I worked with her to change some of the wording to address some of the concerns I had and the members of the public had. And, you know, I talked to Kathy for quite a while on the phone. And even though I've been participating as a member of the public for almost 7 years at these meetings, I learned there's still a lot of information that I don't have that she can really help me as a board member, okay? And I'm sure she'll be able to help all of us. And we do have, you know, myself and Nevada are new, and now we're going to have Marty, although he has been here before, he was been here for a while. I think she'll be very helpful. You know, it's very possible that, you know, maybe she'll, in 6 months, she could say, you know, I think you guys are ready to go. And we say to her, you know, Kathy, I think we're ready to go. But there's a lot to do. And even the letter contemplates a few things in there that need to be worked on. And, I think her knowledge and history of the board will be extremely helpful. And she should help us with it.
Kathy, did you have anything to add?
No, I think I appreciate Pam's input in working with me on, revising this letter of engagement, and I look forward to, hopefully getting back in and helping the GID move forward.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Brian?
Yeah, so I'm Brian DeMember for the record. I've known Kathy and her husband John for really going on about 20 years now. And when Vicki and I first moved into the valley, they were probably, one of our first and newest friends that we made here in the valley. And what I've known of Kathy is that she is highly competent. She's highly professional. The amount of knowledge that she has that really needs to be captured, because the amount of institutional knowledge that left the GID, which she was so unceremoniously dumped by the previous guys, that is worth its weight in gold. It really is, and I don't believe you could get anybody to come in on a consulting basis to help fill the gaps of any better and of any better character than Kathy Blackfoot.
Any other public comment? Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the letter of engagement with Kathy Blatho for consulting services for the GID.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you,
Have a
guys.
nice evening.
Thank you.
Okay, new business, none. Correspondence?
I have a few things. Jeff Taylor with Outlaw Wireless has let us know that he is upgrading the system and he will no longer be doing any business internet. Sean was good enough to talk with him and get him to agree to continue it until we have a replacement in August, and we'll find someone and present that to the board in August with 3 quotes and looking at different things. And he recommended a couple of people to get quotes from. And he's been serving the GID for over 15 years and felt it was time to go back to what he's supposed to be doing and not just businesses, because he even turned down doing this area and because he doesn't do businesses. So he won't be doing that anymore. And we got a notice from the Employee Management Relationships Board. They're looking at an amendment that, if it comes through, will affect basically the policy manual. They want any of the organizations to look through for any superfluous policies and remove them. And they haven't decided to do that yet, but they sent us a notification that that's something that we may need to do. And then, Angie, I'm going to turn this one over to you because you dealt with the audit.
So we got confirmation on our pool pack audit for the 24-25 year, where they,
23-24.
that's the 23-24 audit where they do it, but it's for the 24-25 where they give us our bills and what we're going to owe. So they do, basically is what they do is they take all of our records for payroll, and then they put them in, do some numbers, run all of everything that they need, and then they see if we've underpaid or overpaid for the year, that year. And then we actually did have a $429.75 credit, so we were able to use that for this year. It was basically because we had the employees out for a little bit on medical leave, and then so we will have our first invoice is going to be due in October, and so we'll be paying those. So we did get that letter from Pool Pact back.
What's the name of that company?
Pool Pact did the or Strategic Premium Resources did the audit for Pool Pact.
And that's all we have on correspondence.
That's it. The first one.
Okay, board member and staff items.
I have something.
Oh, okay.
Part of my, really, but this is my second meeting, so between my last meeting and this meeting, I was looking at a few things, and the one, I know, at the last meeting, we got, public comments on, we got actually a email with list of the 17 people who wanted help, wanted some work done on Quaking Aspen. And I know we can't discuss this, but I'm just gonna tell you what I found out, and then if we can put it on the agenda, and I'll tell you why I want to put it on the agenda. When I hear from constituents that they want to do something, and I look back and, it was on the meeting, they first brought it up, in September of 23. Then it was tabled to October of 23. Then it was tabled again, and kind of disappeared for a while, and then new email came in. So I went and looked at all that stuff, and then I went to Quaking Aspen. I did a little drive walk, see how bad Quaking Aspen is. And I actually went to a couple other places that people had complained about. I went to I drove on Grass Valley Road, which is they're about 3
West.
Okay. Went on Yellowtail, which is a 3. I went on Quaking Aspen. I'm trying to think of where the road is.
East, Grass Valley.
What?
Grass Valley East.
Grass Valley East. And there are a few places there that probably need some work, but frankly, Yellowtail was the worst of all the roads I went, and it wasn't unbearable. I'm not complaining about it.
When did you go?
A couple days ago.
Okay, so after I went and moved some of the rocks, it's still bad. I covered the rocks.
Oh, no, there's some definite improvement.
Okay.
No. When I say it's
No,
all
it's a
relative,
comparison.
it's a
Yeah,
comparison.
she's doing a comparison.
And, we all have different opinions about stuff, but I was just gonna drive, same thing, well, this road, this road. They're all serviceable, but I think out of respect to all the when residents, like 17 people, ask for something, I think we need to address it, that's all. And, if it's, then we can discuss it then, decide. And the helpful thing might be is if Sean has time to go look at it himself and say, this is what I think we could do for this little amount of money, then he could say that. It'd be helpful to us if he did, because that's who does the work. And I'll say that at this point in time, it wasn't that bad, because I've been on this road in the round. But I think we should continue a couple times, and then we have yet another request.
Good, but not next month. Yeah, I want to get this.
Too many things already.
The other item we talked about, and then insurance now. Yeah, so probably like September. None of money resets in September. That number gets big again.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I like when the number gets big. The money I can spend, we can spend. Right now, it's really small, 41 grand, so. Okay.
Sean, got a question. Silver Horse,
Done.
how much of that, how far up is that?
Where you go, it stops at the cul-de-sac.
Okay. It
So
stops-
the 301
it
or
stops-
whatever it is.
yeah, It stops at the turnaround.
You go around, yeah, that's
Yeah.
the cul-de-sac, that was the original cul-de-sac, and that is our.
Oh, got it. Okay, that's the end of it. Okay, yeah, I got a phone call about it, and I'm gonna talk to you.
You talked to him.
Okay, perfect.
So he got a couple of nice ratings, but then he also got a road board member that tore a few things up, unfortunately. Yes.
Anything else?
Good.
And there's one other thing for the agenda next month that we got to figure out. So, I don't have the energy anymore. After the last year and a half, I don't have the energy. Okay, public comment on matters not listed on this agenda.
Jan Mortensen, for the record, I just want to thank Sean for refreshing Yosh to Farmhouse on Yellowdale. It made it better. But it's still worse with Quaking Aspen.
Thank you for that.
And the next thing is, we are going to be putting in a gate. So, do we talk to the GID about, like, there's a,
Where's the gate?
well, the gate's up in our shop.
No, where is it gonna go?
Well,
Come on.
that's what I want to talk about, is where, how.
You can't put it in the cul-de-sac.
Well, exactly. But we want to know where the easement, do you know where the easement? What do we
Here's
look
the
at?
deal, you saw where they put the chain for the Tesla guy?
Yeah,
Okay, something right in there is fine, because so that's all good.
right.
So you're fine, wherever you put it, right there, and that like his, you'd be perfect.
Okay, that's what we were wondering. That's all I
Just
have.
again, make sure that he figures out how to get the water to flow in the right spot instead of right down.
Well, maybe you ought to tell us.
Oh, no. I can't go there.
Marshall?
That reminds me that, when new homes come in, they're, and they make a driveway that goes onto a PPGI road, aren't they supposed to put a culvert or not?
It varies, depends on the road, how it is, how it comes in, all that good stuff. And it's just agendized, can we talk about it?
No, so let's put it on the agenda sometime.
Okay, very good. But I have the perfect example.
Marshall?
Got it.
Marshall Todd, for the record, I just want to say, this is how meetings ought to go. And I'm really, really, really happy to see it going.
I don't know, now Marty's coming back.
Yeah, but nobody's gonna mess with him, look at me.
Any other public comment?
Yeah, I'd like to say congratulations to the board. This is my fourth meeting. Larry and I didn't get along too well years ago, and I thought it was down in the market. But I've seen more getting done in the last 4 weeks than I have seen in the last 5 years through the board of the GID. And you've seen one time they were the I just turned it off. But since then, they have built an incredible change. I thank everybody for doing what they're doing. It's more has been accomplished in the last 4 weeks than in the last 20 years.
And I think we got the right team, we're gonna keep going. Any other public comment? All right, adjournment. Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried, we're adjourned at 7:10.